Welcome to Co-working Night, everyone. I'd like to introduce Dustin Timbrook here. He is an incredible artist and videographer, and he's also the creative director of Red Brick Strategies, the #1 creative agency in North Alabama. And he'll be speaking to us tonight about why startups should have artists on their teams, and I'm sure I'll learn a lot about the way that we can structure startups and how to form a team. So it will be a really incredible talk. And so without further ado, here's Dustin Timbrook. Yeah.
Okay, like he said, I'm Dustin Timbrook. I'm the creative director for Red Brick Strategies, which is literally a block away above Jimmy John's. And we're having a grand open ribbon cutting tomorrow at 4 o'clock, so you should come to it and eat Jimmy John's beforehand because we're not providing it. Okay, so Chris asked me to speak, and I don't really have like a formal thing that I wrote out, so I want this to be very much a discussion, so feel free to talk back to me. And I was gonna start this a little more accusatory to get people arguing, but you guys kind of defied my expectations. So I'll give you the premise that I had set up. So what I'm talking about tonight is why every startup needs an artist on their team. And I got the idea because a couple years ago I went to this thing called Gig Tank. Do you guys know what Gig Tank is? So for those that don't know what Gig Tank is, it's this event that they do in Chattanooga that's where a bunch of startups go and compete for funding or whatever, and they present their ideas, and they have this big event where they all get on stage and in front of a huge audience, they talk about what their thing is and why you should give them the money, and that's Gig Tank. And I went to that and I watched all the guys go up and give their 10-minute spiel about why they should have all the money. And during every single one of them, they would show the team and they'd be like, now it's time to meet the team. And they would show the team, and it was all these kinds of guys, which I will call young, white, male, nerds. Okay, so I'm sorry, Stephen. So literally every single team that presented, it was the same thing. It was these young white male nerds. And I don't have anything against young white male nerds. Okay, I'm one of you. But there was no diversity. Okay, and I saw that as a big problem. And when I said I was going to come in here being more accusatory, I was going to be like, and you guys are all young white male nerds, but you defied my expectations, so good job, okay? We have one female, and we have people of color. Good work. Oh. Sorry to the viewers out there on YouTube that just looked at a whiteboard. I'm going to move around a lot. So, anyways, diversity is good. And I could give you a big diversity lecture right now and say it's good because, and typically what you're going to hear is diversity is good because it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to have people from different walks of life included in your thing. And sure, it's a good thing. But my spiel tonight is diversity is a good thing for business. And the diversity that I think your startups need, and who all here actually has a startup or is working towards having one? Okay, I liked your reaction. Okay, so if at any point any of you that don't have a startup have a startup, or if you have a friend that has a startup and you're going to share this video with them or whatever, I think that their startup needs an artist. And I'll talk about why. So I'm going to move over here physically. So just to give you a little background about myself, I'm going to do the Whirlwind Timbrook tour. So this video right here, which has no sound, but imagine it's me talking very dryly with some very dry, boring music, and I'm talking about some painting that I did, and I'm talking about another painting that I did, and my dog is staring awkwardly. Okay, this is the video that launched my career, and it was very simple and easy to make. It was just a camera on a tripod. Everything was very simple, but I made this video years and years ago when I moved to Huntsville and I started at Low Mill to encourage people to come to an art show. So I was having an art show. I wanted to sell art. And the joke of it is that if they come to the art show, even if they don't like art, they can look at my puppy. Anyways, I made that video, and then it was really popular. So people liked it, and I made a series of videos, and it all culminated in this one, which this one I released the day before the art show. I wish there was sound. And imagine there's Stravinsky music playing. And anyways, I run around Low Mill. And you can look these all up on YouTube later. A bunch of crazy artists join me. We run to my art show. We get there. Oh, I won't spoil it. Go watch it later. Do your homework. So anyways, I made these videos. They were very popular. And then my art show did really well. It did. I probably had better attendance than any art show that had been at Low Mill so far. So I was good at doing these videos. And then eventually I pitched it to Low Mill like, hey, I think you could have creative videos. Not a lot of people, I mean, back then, really there weren't a lot of many people making videos for YouTube, which is crazy because now everybody does it because their phones can do it. But a while. It was probably like 6 or 7 years ago. So anyways, I pitched to Low Mill like, you should let me make videos for you. You can pay me to do one a week and just like get people hyped up about the stuff that's happening here. So did I put that on here? No, I did not. Sorry. So anyways, I did video for Low Mill, and then I kind of worked my way up to doing other stuff for Low Mill, just kind of all around creative marketing, their website, their social media, all that kind of stuff. And then eventually that spun off into Red Brick Strategies, which is the creative agency that I have with my friend Trent Willis that we started about 2 years ago. And now it's my full-time job. So this is a sales pitch. You didn't know that you're walking into a pitch meeting, but I will have all of you as clients by the end of it. So I'm just going to show you some other stuff that I've made just creatively. This is a music video that I made for a band out in New York that's played at Low Mill a lot. I like to do animation. This video kind of gives you a sense of not only my video making, but also my painting style, because all the animation that you see in it, stuff that I made. Zoom, 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 zoom. Okay, you can watch that later. That's called Pretty Little Bird. So, yeah, let's talk about why having an artist on your team is important. And what I would like for this conversation to spin off into is at some point, I want those of you that actually have startups to tell me what your thing is. And then I'm going to give you kind of my weird artist perspective on not only how you would market it, but how you would think about it philosophically. Because when I was marketing Low Mill, it was a struggle at first. It's this big, awesome place, but in having to describe it to people, I would do what everybody did and say like, well, it's this big, awesome building and it's old and it has all these studios in it and there's all these artists that are there. And it's just this awesome, amazing thing. And it's a very generic description. It's great. You'll love it because it's great. And it took a year or two of me being in charge of marketing the place to condense it down into what it actually was, like in a sentence and what you call your elevator pitch. It's like a really, really hard thing to do, to take this thing that's your entire world and condense it into a nugget that you can say in a sentence or a fraction of a sentence. So what I realized about Low Mill, the pitch for it wasn't, it's this big awesome place and there's all these artists and then blah, 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 blah. It was, oh, we're the biggest art facility in the country. Like, and nobody in the building, a building with like 200 people in it, hadn't figured that out yet. And they're like, oh yeah, we're the biggest. Like, that's our thing. And that's what, as Red Brick Strategies, when somebody comes in and they need help with branding or figuring out how to get their message across, the first thing that we do is we sit down and try to condense everything about that company or that organization or nonprofit into just this tiny little nugget that is their story, that is their elevator pitch, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Oh, I did have that Low Mill video. So with Low Mill's branding, like Low Mill is this very community-centric place. Oh, I bet Steven's in one of these. Let's find Steven. So like I've made one of these videos for Low Mill every single week, and they were kind of all over the place. Yeah, there's Steven right there. In his non-offensive Native American attire. There's Betty. There's Tom sniffing a marker. So with Low Mill, it was all about, you know, like this quirky, weird community. And that's how I told that story, was to make a different kind of video every week that reflected the different artist that was the star of the video, or whoever thing we were promoting. It was a really good practice for what I do now with Red Brick, because now it's clients, and I have to switch my brain into a different mode for whoever comes in. If they're a tech company, well, I got to think about tech. If they're doing some kind of service for, if they're in a service industry and it's something more emotional and it tugs on the heartstrings, I got to think in that mode. So anyways, that's what we do as a creative agency at Red Brick. And I'm gonna look at my notes real quick. Oh yeah. Okay, so has anyone, I was really hoping one person would be here that I know has had experience with this thing, but did anybody here ever see the Kickstarter campaign for Coin? Okay, you remember Coin? So Coin, in theory, is a credit card that you store all of your other credit cards in, and then you're at the restaurant, and I'm giving you the pitch that was in the Kickstarter video. So the guy's at the restaurant, and he's like, do I want to use my Visa card? Do I want to use my Google card? I don't care. I'm going to choose one. And he pushes a button on it, and then it automatically changes to the card that he wants, right? And Coin was this like amazing idea in theory, and it was the best Kickstarter video I've ever seen. Like, I couldn't pull out my wallet soon enough, and everybody that saw this video did the same thing. And those that are still familiar with Coin, it is the most disastrous Kickstarter campaign I can think of. Like, they ran that campaign years ago. They sent, like, just go look at their Twitter feed. It's hilarious. It's just nothing but apologies to thousands and thousands of people. Like, I've been waiting for 3 years for this thing and it doesn't work. It cracked in half as soon as I got it. So that's Coin. The reason I bring it up is, you know, Coin was a disaster as far as an actual startup, and that's on the startup itself. But it was the most glorious marketing campaign I've ever seen in my life, and it was beautiful. Like, I even stole an idea for Coin. So this is a video we made for 3GIS, which is a local GIS company out in Decatur. And the thing that they did in Coin was, when he to visualize how the card worked, he would hit the card, and then all of his other cards would pop up in space, floating above it, kind of 3D moving around with his hand. And as an audience, you're watching and you're saying, okay, I know it doesn't do that, but it gets the idea across. Like, they spiced it up and made it cooler. So that's what I did with 3GIS's stuff, like just to show kind of what their interface looks like. So anyways, my point is aesthetics, art, marketing, they can make millions and millions of dollars for companies that or startups that don't even have a product. Okay, so that alone should convince you that having an artist on your team is a good idea.
I'm sure Coin's one of the ones that's the reason that they changed the Kickstarter rules.
Probably so. And like
you have to have a prototype now. You can't just
right. And like I love Coin, even though I lost $50 and they're just ripped off thousands of people. Just whoever did their marketing was brilliant.
you can get it back. I got mine back.
Oh, well, congrats. So, anyways, the reason I bring it up, the thing that I realized that's like the biggest lesson that I take into any marketing thing, and I learned this working for Low Mill, because I don't have a marketing degree, I have a painting degree. But I figured out marketing just from having to make my own art career work and then having to make Low Mill work. It was, I'm almost inclined to write this on the board because it's such a big, profound thing. Perception is the only reality that matters. Okay, and what I mean by that, so let's take this eraser. And let's say, for the sake of argument, all of you in this room think that this is an apple, okay? And I know that that is not an apple. That is an eraser. The thing is, when it comes to marketing and getting people to actually want to use your thing and give you money, it doesn't matter if I know that that's an eraser. If you guys think that that's an apple, that's the truth. So if this whole apples erasers thing, I'm not so sure about it. I'll go back to Low Mill. So Low Mill was always like a really safe place with a lot of nice people working there. But the perception of it for years was that's a scary place where crackheads shoot. Yeah, crackheads shoot up in there. I like to think that in this video, people aren't even going to hear the offsite commentary, and they're just going to think I'm just laughing to myself like a lunatic. So, anyways, the perception of Low Mill was not the reality of the place. I knew like it was perfectly safe. There was a lot of nice people working in there. It was a good, wholesome place that people could bring their families or whatever. But that wasn't the perception. And you know, you can battle that, and if it's your software or whatever, you can say that, well, if people don't like the interface of this, that's because they're stupid. I know that I did it the right way. It functions the best possible way. It doesn't matter. Like, if you want people to spend money to use the thing, their perception is all that matters. So the reason you hire a creative person, an artist, is all I do as an artist, I mean, I draw and stuff like that. I physically manifest ideas. But the core of what I do is just sit around and think about perception. It's all I do. It's just constantly analyze how I perceive the world and how other people perceive the world. And then the stuff that I make is just the conduit so I can say to Tom over there, Tom, this is how I perceive the world. Do you get it? Okay, so that's what art is. Art is the thing in the middle. It's how we communicate the differences between how we perceive things. So if your software or your coffee or your whatever, if it has a perception that you don't like or that you can't sell, you need a creative person to come in and spin it. Okay? So what I have learned to do as a marketer is to say, okay, people perceive a thing in this way. I want them to perceive it in this other way so that I can make more money off of the thing. What can I do to get them to perceive it differently? And that's what a creative agency does. So Chris asked earlier what services Red Brick Strategies provides. And you know, a lot of marketing firms or design firms or whatever will say, we provide X, we do video, we make websites, we do blah, blah, blah. Red Brick, we are a creative agency. So like we don't have a price sheet that says video costs X amount for X number, blah, blah, blah. We don't say it costs this much for us to build you a website. When people come in to work with us, it's a blank slate, and we don't even know what exactly they're going to do. And they might have an idea by the end of the meeting, we've totally changed their mind. They might come in and say, we want to make a bunch of YouTube videos because you guys are good at making videos. And by the end of the meeting, we might realize video is not the thing to create the perception that you want to create about your brand. It's not going to tell the story that you want. So anyways, that's a very complicated answer to what we do, but we are literally a creative agency. When you hire us, it's kind of like having an artist on your team. You are hiring somebody to think in a different way than you think. So, does anybody have any questions? Can we do the rapid fire thing where you...
Kickstarter campaigns for other companies.
I will show you one that we did.
Simply
Without
yes.
sound. This one was really animation heavy. This is for my friend that actually works at Appleton now.
Who was on your team? You mean Eraser?
Do I?
Works at Eraser.
Oh, yeah. And I'm going to skip to, like, we had to do some software visualizations for this product because some of it didn't exist anymore, like the back end of what this software did. So,
That's Phil.
yeah, that's Philip.
Is he still working on that?
He is. It didn't get properly funded. It wanted a very large amount of money. But I think it is going to get funded privately by angel investors. And the video actually helped with that. So like this is an example of where we help visualize something in software that didn't exactly exist yet. And we made it 3D to make it be something people would actually want to watch in a video, because a video of just a screen is not too exciting.
Who's on your team at Red Brick?
It's me and Trent and Lauren. Lauren is our graphic designer, but I do all the video stuff, and then Trent is the business, and then he helps.
What do you use to do all the
After Effects,
yeah.
For stuff like that, and mostly I just work in Adobe Suite. Yeah.
Is the bulk of your work with Adobe Creative Suite?
I'll show you some other.
Say what? Do you want to know?
It would really help if this video had sound. So just imagine that the sound is sweeping you off your feet. But this was, Huntsville Ballet Company came in, and their thing was like they had their core audience, but they wanted to build that audience to get newer people. So the way we approached that was we wanted to, let's make a video to show kind of younger people that ballet is this hardcore, brutal, physical exercise. It's almost sport. And we interviewed the dancers. That guy talked about how he's played every kind of sport, and this is the hardest thing he's ever done. And this video builds up and it culminates in this like big performance. If it had sound, you'd just be like, ah. But you know, it got the message across. So when people come in, and you know, when I talk about like if your startup or any startup was to hire Red Brick or any creative agency, that's essentially outsourcing hiring an artist for your team. Ideally, you would just have that person actually in your company. But I understand like startups or small businesses, you don't have a lot of money. It's not easy to hire anybody. But you know, even if you're just trading beer and pizza for ideas, if you get a person that is not a developer just to come in and hear you talk about your thing, they're gonna provide perspective that you don't have.
So like when you were kind of kickstarting Red Brick, or you know, however you got that started as a startup, or when you're helping other types of companies in that, did you kind of start at that like, I don't know, homegrown level of beer and pizza, like let's just talk ideas and change perception, and how do you perceive this like as a marketing, gathering other people's perceptions of it?
Well, I mean, with Red Brick, like I didn't even know that we were building a company at the time. Trent, my partner, he's my boss. He's the owner of it, but we've always been kind of equal members of it. He was asking me to design all these random things or make these videos here and there, and I think eventually it just kind of formulated into what the company was. But those early on meetings with clients, we would go in, and we hadn't done it before, so we didn't really know what to expect. And now that we're at the level we are now, we're kind of like the premium marketing agency around, so we can kind of choose who we will and won't work with. And the thing that we've learned is I don't even know if I'm answering your question anymore, but the people that we like to work with and we get the best projects out of, like they are coming in asking for an entirely new perspective. Some people will come in and say, I want you to make this thing. I've got this idea. You be the person that executes my vision for the thing. And we just don't even work with people like that anymore.
As a marketer, opposed to like allowing you to like, here's our vision, but you make it work how you see fit.
And it's not even that it's limit. Yes, it is limiting our creative vision, but like beyond that, it deprives them of value. Because the value that we provide is creative. If they just want a videographer or somebody that will build the website that has everything exactly where they want it, then they need to just hire somebody on Fiverr or whatever. Like they'll get the generic thing that's the version of what they want. But the value we provide is a creative perspective that they don't have. And not that our clients aren't creative people themselves, but you know, artists are people that, like I said, sit around literally all day and just think about perception. So it's we spend more time and have more invested in it.
How do you market your business? And you may want to repeat the questions for the video.
Okay. How do we market our business? Well, we've done a poor job of marketing our business. So tonight what I'll do is pass out business cards to all of you. And invitations to our open house ribbon cutting, which is tomorrow at 4 p.m. Like I said, we're directly above Jimmy John's. So, you know, honestly, the reason we have done a poor job of marketing ourselves, but it's for a good reason. It's because we've been too busy working for other people to focus on our stuff. And that's a thing startups deal with a lot. Like, we've had to deal with it ourselves. We're a creative agency, and we don't even have a website right now. You go to our URL, it links to our Facebook page. But I mean, we're working on websites all day, every day. So, you know, we're staying busy. The way that I choose to spin it, because that's what I do, is I spin things, is we say, well, we're kind of premium, we're kind of elite. Like, if you have to ask about us, then does it make sense?
Then you can't
So-
presumptuous.
Well, but not when we have a lot of business coming in.
So I was about to say, if you're marketing for other people and actually making the money at a detriment to your own marketing, it kind of like speaks for itself, because you're getting the work without the marketing. And
Right.
then the marketing will then.
That's the thing. Our marketing has just been word of mouth from a happy client saying, go to these people, they're going to do the best job. And then, like, we're also the most and I mean, I'm going to brag on my company, obviously, but the past 2 Addy Awards, the North Alabama Addy Awards, like, we've just blown them out of the water. Like, we won all the awards. The first year that we went to that it got to be embarrassing, because every time I go up to get an award and start to walk back to sit down, they'd announce the next award, and it would be us again. And by the end of the night, like, just everybody that was in that audience was just like, just so pissed at us. So that, you know, that's kind of stuff in itself is good marketing. And then this event that we're having tomorrow is marketing, and it's kind of like small word of mouth marketing. Any other questions? Well, one thing I really did want to do was, anybody that has a startup, like, I just want to do like a game of ping pong where you tell me what your thing is with your elevator pitch, and then I just, as fast as I can, come up with like a weird, unexpected thing that you could do to market it. Anybody got anything? Yes.
My wife and I have a YouTube channel where she's an artist and she creates how to draw videos for people who want to learn how to draw.
Okay.
One of the things that I like about it is that it's accessible anywhere. It has internet. And we get a lot of revenue just from ads that are played. So it's kind of a win-win for everybody.
Okay.
And one struggle I have is how to actually take that and like tell people about it without sounding like a weirdo. Hey, come check out my YouTube channel. So it's really something that has had a lot of good feedback. People are loving our videos. They're going and watching them a lot. And we're making a decent amount of money from it. Mm-hmm. But, you know, taking to the next step where we're actually representing it, you know, on the public's scene, where people can say, hey, okay, I've already reserved the website name that I want and things like that. And actually, it's kind of interesting that you're doing what you're doing, because that's kind of where me and my wife want to be at some point, is doing exactly what you're doing. Having people come to us, we give the ideas, we rehash and represent. Mm-hmm. So kind of getting started on that is kind of a challenge for me, coming from where I have been in the past to where I am now. I'm out on the edge, about to jump, and that's where I'm at.
So you want this YouTube channel to be full-time gig?
Yeah, it's kind of a side thing,
Mm-hmm.
but that's our primary breadwinner right now.
Okay.
So I want to market that.
So you want to? Well, I mean, I guess the most obvious answer would just be marketing it on YouTube itself through pre-roll ads, which I think Chris Beeman is familiar with that subject. I just like this idea because I'm obsessed with this guy. But if you spend any time on YouTube, and I made fun of this in my TEDx talk, and nobody in the audience understood what I was talking about, but Ty Lopez, is everybody in here familiar with Ty Lopez? It's like this creepy, dead-eyed sociopath that is super, super rich. And he has like every pre-roll, I guess it's because I clicked on one time, and that's why it's all I see, but every pre-roll ad for me is Ty Lopez. And I don't know how he affords all these ads, but I say you make a pre-roll ad about how to draw Tai Lopez. Okay? YouTube will eat that ish up, okay? So there's my quick answer for you.
T-Y?
Tailopez.
Glad I asked.
He's probably Filipino.
Here in my garage. You haven't seen this, y'all? Haven't seen Tai Lopez?
Are you talking about the guy who's like, I got this new Lamborghini.
It's like, you know what I like more than material things?
Knowledge.
Knowledge.
Real proud of all those books.
He does not read books. He says his TEDx talk was about how he reads a book a day.
Yeah.
And I watched his video about how he reads a book a day, and he's like, here's how you read a book a day. You just like look at some of the words and then put it away. So
I read the title of the book.
that would be a viral thing, I promise.
So I think you already know my startup idea. What I'm working on is the rock, paper, scissors competition online. And really, I mean, I just really want to vouch for what you're saying, first of all, because we've just stepped out and hired an artist, because the one thing we always argued about was what it should look and feel like. Mm-hmm. And the one thing we always agreed on was we know what looks good, but we don't know how to produce that content.
Right.
And we also know what looks not good. And everything we came up with was not good.
Yeah. And again, like, aesthetics are something you can get, you can get some college kid to do it, and you'll probably get something that looks good. A lot of people can produce things that look really good. With your thing, I think you could use just a better way of explaining it. So you need a creative person in to like grasp what that thing is and find out what short little insight you can share that people will automatically understand it. Because if you're like, it's rock, paper, scissors, but it's shopping, and then it's an app, and then you play the game, like that's you want an idea that's so concise that the second you give it to somebody, it sticks in their mind, and they just say, I get it. You just want people to say, I get it. So, but that's my pitch. That's my pitch to you is like philosophical searching. Yeah, I don't have a quick answer for that. Like, I think you're on the right track getting the aesthetics down, but get the philosophy of it down. Sorry if that's... I mean, you can come, like, give us a lot of money and we'll work on that. Okay, yeah.
So I work at a company. We are building a backpack-based sensor system that you walk through buildings and generate blueprints. Is the product.
That's awesome.
And so, part of it is that it's the construction industry and that they are not exactly accepting of new technology in general, and so they don't necessarily understand why it would necessarily benefit them, even if it does offer like vast improvements to some parts of their process.
So, who is your target audience for this? Who are the people you're trying to get money
There's
from?
a couple different market segments, but
and I don't mean investors. I mean like people that will actually buy the product.
Yeah. So the main kind of one of the segments we're targeting is like pre-fire, pre-incident safety planning. So like you want your first responders to know what they're going into before they go into it, and the way you do that is you build a database of all these floor plans ahead of time.
Okay, so right off the bat, first responder, like as an artist, what I do is, besides sit around and think about perception all day, is I take that information and I learn how to use it to manipulate people. Like I'm a professional manipulator. That's what I do, is I make people feel the things that I want them to feel. And you said first responders, like that immediately tugs at the heartstrings. Okay, people have an emotional attachment to first responders. So when you were first telling me your idea, I was thinking, oh, this is going to be some kind of dry thing. How can we spice this up? Like first responders, that appeals to everybody on an emotional level. So without getting too deep into what your thing is, like I see a video for it, and not everything needs a video. Even though my main thing that I do is video, a lot of times I will tell a client video is not good for this, but I see a video, I see a story about first responders and how we want to keep those people safe. And then I also see some kind of cool way of visualizing what the thing is. So just brainstorming.
Well, that 3D visualization of it would be good for that.
Yeah, and that's kind of immediately what my mind goes to is just showing in a 3D way, abstract way, what this piece of software does. Because if you just show a guy walking around in a backpack, that's not cool. But if you show that and then you split screen that with, you have this empty void, and that empty void is just, we see a parallel of a guy walking through a building, and then over here in this empty void, it's filling up with this framework of a building. And if we wanted to make something that had mass appeal, we would do that with something that everybody loves. We do it with Legos. But if we're just showing this to people that aren't little kids, then we do it in a more serious professional manner. But yeah,
Suggest something? Yeah, real quick. With that, I can kind of visualize like from a fireman's perspective. When you go into a burning building, you can't see anything. There's black smoke everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have like a visual overlay of him being able to navigate through the building and get where he needs to go to rescue people because he has that scan already in his database. So
and that's where we incorporate that's where we incorporate the emotional story. And I don't know exactly what that story would be, but I'm always looking for what the story is. All
you have to do is show the fireman coming home to his family. Like,
there you go.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the thing.
Are you kidding me? Put the little girl in there and then.
Come interview with us.
Thank you so much for coming, Dustin. And so if anyone has any follow-up questions or wants to talk more, you can follow up with him. I'm pretty sure he's going to give out business cards to everyone. So yeah, this has been a wonderful talk, Dustin. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh, you get it.